Hi, here is a short video on our grassroots canvassing system. This system is presently being used in about 40 states and has been in the market since 2012. Was widely used in 2014 and 2016, both cycles, and has reached approximately 47 or 48 million or so um, voters on the Republican side. So on the right side of the screen is our mobile app, and on the left side is our supporting CRM platform, and they're fully integrated with each other, and the work is assigned from the CRM system on the left into the mobile app, and the data is collected in the mobile app and sent back and reported in real time on the CRM system. So just to give a quick tour of the mobile app, it's got a few different modules, but job number one is pre-assigned walkbooks, and you can see an example of one here, and what you're seeing is a list of voters. We've got just 17 houses on this list, displayed over 3 pages, and just go back and forth as so. Each of the houses over here, this little icon indicates how many voters there are in each house, and we always show all of the registered voters regardless of their party affiliation. But when you tap on the house, we'll start with this first one, we highlight which voters are targeted. So you can create a list of targeted voters over here in the CRM, and then create surveys and so forth for your target voters and your non-targets, and they'll be highlighted when you go up to the door. So that green bar is the highlight. Looks like everybody in this house is highlighted. We'll go to a different one. And everybody in that one is too. But if you go to a house and you've got one person that's in the target group and another person that is not, we can have different surveys for different individuals in the house. When you are looking at this summary page for each voter, it tells you a little bit about who they are, party affiliation, and so forth. If we've contacted them before, that will display. You can hit this link to see if we've contacted them, how many times, previous survey answers, if they're identified in any voter segments or so forth. Down here, it'll show all of that up. We show the polling location. We pop that in just before election time. When you go on the door, you tap on the voter's name. You can see there are all kinds of different potential answers. If nobody's home, we can take an observation survey that you can answer: do they have an American flag? Do they have a sticker on their car, a yard sign, or toys in the yard, or whatever information you want to collect at the door. This one doesn't particularly reflect politics, but just so you get a sense of what the surveys look like. So hit save, and that one's all done, and we'll go on to our next house. Another thing we can do when we go to the door is if we knock on the door and we ask for Earl, and the person that answers the door says, "No, I'm Tom, not Earl. Earl moved out last month." I can click on this moved, update, and survey new voter. So I can tap on this. I can look up Tom at his old address, so based on his last name and zip code, and whether or not he lived in Minnesota like I do, or if he came in from somewhere else. We can pull their voter record from basically anywhere in the country to their new address, update the voter database, and survey them at their new house. So of course, with the list comes a map, and the map will show you in route order how to get from one house to the next. And one of the things you can do, like in this case, the route order is a little odd because I've got houses 1, 2, and 3 here, and 4, 5, and 6 over there. So I could hit this sort by street name, and it'll resort the list on the spot. It also shows you this little check mark right here that indicates which houses that you've been to, and of course the blue blinking dot there is where I am right now. I can tap naturally on any of these map points and go straight to that house, look at the voters in that house and survey them. Also on the map I can get this directions on how to get to where I need to go. So if I want to figure out how to get from where I am to the first house, I hit that direction, then I hit this little right turn arrow and it'll tell me where to go. Go back to that for a sec. I can also turn on through this arrow, I can turn on the navigation client on my phone, whether it's if it's an Android phone it'll be Google, and if it's an Apple it'll be the Apple Map, and it'll give me voice turn by turn. We tend to discourage people from keeping that all the time because the maps on our app, as you see them here, are cached so they don't kill the battery, but as you may know, when you're using navigation on your phone, that's a total battery eater, so it doesn't work when you're out knocking on doors for trying to be out for a few hours. We have some other modules and features on this app. One is this Find Voter feature, which works kind of like that finding a voter at their previous address, but if you're using the app in an event or doing ad hoc campaigning in a coffee shop or what have you, you can have a survey set up for the activity that you're doing that day, and you can look people up by their last name and their zip code and find them and survey them. And if you look somebody up on this app and in this module of the app, you look this person up, update their information. Whoop, no survey was assigned to this person. I can take that survey, even though I didn't just, and it will update my walk lists as well. So if I meet that person in a coffee shop, I don't have to knock on their door this weekend when I'm out knocking on doors. We do have a voter registration module that is what I would call kind of old school, because you can take down all the information and it emails a form to the voter, allowing them to sign it and mail it into their Secretary of State or local registrar. Or we also have the ability to link into the state voter registration site through the app, and then have the voter register right through the app on the spot. We don't put any information into the state voter registration systems. We just make it available through the app for the convenience of doing so. I'm just to take note quickly of the system uses a manual sync process, which we've used since the beginning and found that to be quite effective. And as I said earlier, as soon as that process is done, the reporting gets updated over here. And just to spend a moment or two on the back-end system, what you're seeing here is, you may have noticed this went from, I think it was from 7 to 10 attempted doors. We went from 2 to 3 surveys taken. So as soon as you hit that sync on the right side, over here in the back end, the field directors can see what's going on. They can see down here on this map where everybody is, and click on the map and see who's who. And then we also have a accountability feature on the system, and it's actually a report we're about to add where it will show you if your volunteers or your people out in the field are doing the work as they're supposed to be. So people that are on track, they're going at the correct pace, they're in the location where the houses are that they're surveying, if they're in the right spot and kind of doing everything at a pace that is synced up with the number of survey questions and so forth, they will be reported as being kind of on track or in the green. And if they're off track, going too slow, not in the right place, so forth, will indicate them on a red bar. And we don't have that particular report displayed quite yet, but we will have that very quickly. But we do have the functionality in that alerts field directors when there's a problem with their people out in the field. We have a very flexible way to manage volunteers. You can upload one at a time or whole group at a time by a simple CSV upload. You can create groups to manage people by field office or or however you want to manage them. It's very flexible, and it makes it easy to reflect the work that's being done in different types of reports. We have a push notification system, so you can communicate through this web application right out to the mobile apps. So people are doing a great job, or we're making our goals, or the weather's getting bad, or you want to remind people that Super Saturday is coming up. You can do all of those things through the system. And lastly, just say we have a whole litany of reports. You can see, of course, what's happened with the surveys and how many people you've contacted for the day, in history, by geography, by voter segment, you name it. We just have a lot of different ways to understand the data, export it, and so forth. Thanks a lot. I think that pretty much covers it for today.